Um, a very, very good afternoon and assalamu alaikum to all my distinguished speakers and also the members of the general audience who are listening in. I'd like to just introduce FACT Exhibitions before we get going. FACT Exhibitions is the leading exhibitions and conferences organization company in Pakistan, and they've been specializing in industrial and corporate trade shows with a very wide-bodied portfolio in over 25 industrial sectors. They are a UFI-approved event organizing company as well, and their events are in accordance with international standards. FACT Exhibition has always been the organizer of Solar Pakistan, which is the country's only dedicated solar exhibition and conference. And they have taken this initiative to organize an informative webinar series on the solar energy situation in Pakistan and worldwide to facilitate and cater to the needs of the industry. Currently, industry professionals are looking to know about the top trends in solar energy industry in Pakistan and worldwide. And we are hoping that we can bridge the gap and enable people to connect with one another. Global leaders and future strategists will basically open a forthcoming discussion for solar professionals. So stay engaged and stay tuned. I hope that we can have a fruitful conversation this afternoon. Having said that, I would now like to introduce our distinguished speakers for today. We firstly have Mr. Almas Haider, who is the chairman of the Engineering Development Board, and he is going to be speaking about market issues of solar energy. Secondly, I have Mr. Koo Jun Hyung, who is the Senior Director of Sales and Marketing for Trina Solar Asia Pacific, and he will be providing a overview of the leading solar and smart energy solutions that they provide. Next, I have Mr. Lim Cheong Boon, who's the head of product and marketing at APAC Trina Solar, and he's going to be talking about understanding how to further reduce the lowest cost of electricity by using solar panels greater than 500 watts. Finally, we have Mr. Zaigam Rizvi, who is associated with the PM Housing Task Force, part of the government of Pakistan, and he'll be talking about the impact of solar as a source of energy environment, both macroeconomic as well as personal economy. Finally, I would like to, as our valued sponsor, Trina Solar is one of the front-ranking Tier 1 solar PV panel manufacturers across the globe. I will, of course, leave it to their personnel to talk more about the company and their products and, of course, the specific topic that they've chosen. After we've concluded the conversations with the speakers, we'll open up the house for question and answers as well. So looking forward to a fruitful discussion. And I'd like to now hand over to Mr. Almas Haider, Chairman, Engineering Development Board. Almas, over to you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many of us are there in this webinar. Unfortunately, I had to leave at 3 o'clock for a meeting, so I requested that I be the first speaker. So I'm very grateful to the sponsors to give me this slot. I wanted to talk about the business, the history of business and the business opportunities that we have in Pakistan in the next 10 minutes. Business, actually, the solar in Pakistan started somewhere around 15, 20 years. There were a few companies which bought some very expensive solar panels. At that time, probably the prices were between $3 per watt to $5 a watt. And a lot of the manufacturing was done in Germany and and in Europe. And China was at that time just getting into the manufacturing of solar panels and the inverters and other equipment that goes in this business. Uh, the Chinese government aggressively pushed manufacturing in China, and today they are a powerhouse. There's nobody bigger and nobody doing more work on solar energy than China. All the products that we get, which are American or German or other products, most of them are manufactured in China actually. Only they are branded according to those countries. So, and I had the opportunity of visiting a lot of these plants over there, manufacturing panels and inverters and other things, and again batteries. Uh, I found the people were very, very passionate about making China the base for solar, the global base for solar. And that passion has overflowed now into the whole world, and the prices have come down from somewhere around uh, $5 a watt to something like 20 cents a watt, maybe less than 20 cents a watt today. And the type of the qualities and the products that have been developed and the efficiencies that have been achieved is absolutely mind-boggling. So this is a time when probably solar produces the cheapest energy in the world. If you hear of 2 cents a watt or 3 cents a watt per kilowatt hour of energy, it always comes from solar. The wind is more expensive, the organic fuels are more expensive, everything else is more expensive. Solar is today the cheapest energy in the world today. Fortunately, the government of Pakistan has moved quickly in this direction. They set up a alternate energy development board about 25 years ago. They are still working on it. They are regulating the sector. They are inviting people. They are giving licenses to companies. So I think this is going to go ahead and move in a direction where it's going to be the most profitable business in the energy sector. Uh, in 2016, now let me give you a little bit of business background of what's happening. In 2016, I was in China looking at these different companies. Probably I went to Trina also, and I went to CSUN, and I went to a couple of others. And absolutely beautiful factories, fully automated, very clean. The products were absolutely superb. And I was traveling back to Pakistan, and there was a gentleman sitting next to me, and he said that, what business are you in? I said, I'm looking at solar business as a potential where I can go into. He said, then you should do what we are doing. I said, what are you doing? He said, we go and buy the quality E and F from China for about 20, 22 cents, which was at that time less than half the price. And we come to Pakistan and we just sell it over there. And that year, more than 900 megawatts of solar panels were imported into Pakistan. Where did they go? They all went to the KPK and to Balochistan, where we don't have the grid, we don't have electricity. So people were buying these panels, taking a small battery, which was either a car battery or a motorcycle battery, and plugging it in with one fan and probably one light or two lights, and they were lighting up their houses over there. And this was over 900 megawatts of panels that went in. The largest buyers in the private sector at that time were these solar IPPs, like the Qaid-e-Azam Solar at that time. And then we also set up a small solar IPP, and then there were others who set up small IPPs. Ever since, I've been working with the government and trying to advise them that they should uh, demark green zones around every urban center where people should be able to put up 10 to 15 megawatt of small solar power plants so that this energy can plug into the cities and during the day when peak also that is covered by the solar energy. And we were NDC and the Ministry of Energy Power agreed over there, but it never got signed off. So this is one of those things that we need to do, that we should have these small green areas so that every urban center gets supported by a cheap source of energy where no fossil fuel is used, and sunlight is free of cost, and we turn sunlight into gold. So that is something, I think that's the future. And if we can add the battery technology and we bring battery technology to Pakistan, start manufacturing batteries over here, the grid anymore. For all the small villages and small urban centers, there are battery banks which are already ready and available. Those battery banks plus the solar panels can look after a village for 24 hours a day, maybe for about 330 to 340 days a year. There are always a few days when there's a lot of clouds and less light. So those are some days where they might feel they want to get electricity 24 hours, but otherwise we can look after them. And this is the cheapest solution. We have an energy deficit, we have an energy problem in this country. Solar energy is the solution to our problems. Thank you very much. I think I've taken my 10 minutes. So over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Almasab, for your insightful thoughts, and also talking about the solar IPP that has been done by the Engineering Development Board, and also talking about battery storage, which I think is a very, very important subject going forward, given that the price of the raw material that batteries use is coming down quite drastically and economies of scale are kicking in. So I hope that we'll be dwelling on this subject as well going forward. And now I'd like to call upon our next distinguished speaker for today, and that is Mr. Koo Jun Hyung, who is the Senior Director, Sales and Marketing for Trina Solar Asia Pacific. Over to you, sir.
Hi, I hope I'm audible. Good afternoon to all the attendees and welcoming attending the sessions. I will be presenting, sharing with you the topics of the leading solars and smart energy solution providers. Right, I'm glad that the previous speakers, Mr. Armas Haidar, was mentioning that Pakistan has been adopting very early stage of smaller systems in the villages of the 2016 will have about 900 megawatts of shipments of the installation that happens in Pakistan. I think that's a great thing that Pakistan has been the one that's been early adopters for solar systems, even in the rural areas, that to have some level of electrical efficiency are going to be happening there. So that's a great thing. I think with the IPP are going to be so-called going to be doing a larger scales of installations. I think that will be definitely help to provide a lot more so-called electrifying the entire country. So how are we looking at it is that for Trina Solar as a company, right? So I just want to go through that briefly, how who we are and what kind of solutions that Trina is bringing to the industry. And particularly for Pakistan, we are also putting a lot more focus into Pakistan in terms of providing our solution and services. So as a start, and I just want to introduce Trina is successfully is a public listed company in Shanghai Innovation and Technology Board that was listed just recently last month in June 10 last month in June 10th of 2020. So we are floated. It's a public company right now. So currently it's being traded actively in the board. So if you look at Trina's presence in the industry, so we are a global company where we have shipping more than 50 gigawatts of module worldwide, and we have more than 3 gigawatts of installations on the system-wise, the system level and project development side. And we have more than more than 10,000, 13,000 employees worldwide. And of course, I think we are having a lot more so-called presence worldwide. Where if you look at this map, Trina is its headquarters located is in China, and in this so-called city called Changzhou in the Jiangsu province. And we do have offices in different parts of the world. For Asia Pacific, where I belong to, the headquarters are from Singapore, and that's where I'm currently located right now. And we do have offices, say in the US, it's out from San Jose, and in Japan, it's out from Tokyo. For US, in Europe, that's out from Zurich, and for China, that's out from the Beijing office. So we have very, very strong presence in different parts of the world and to support our customers. And particularly for Pakistan, who is going to be one of the key country for us in Asia Pacific. So we do have a local salespersons and presence right now, providing the local sales and services to our customers that we have been doing for the last 4 to 5 years. So one of the important so-called components that we're looking at it is that for the larger scale of projects on the ground mounting projects, typically the component suppliers like solar PV module, which constitute about close to about 50% of the total system cost. That is probably one of the very key components of the total systems. And for most of the so-called developers, or even the EPC partners or the installer who are going to be, taking the financing loan and the debt financing from a bank, and most of the time, the financial institution would like to do the so-called evaluations of, the hardware provider, make sure they are going to be very important, which is going to be from they are trustworthy, in terms of providing the product warranty and supports locally. Secondly, in terms of quality, they are probably they wanted to be sure that they're providing a very good quality and complying to all the international standards. And lastly, the brand itself are going to be a trustworthy brands in the industry for a long time, so that they are going to be so-called bankable from the so-called this particular keyword here, bankables for the whole industry. So Trina Solar, we are has been very lucky that has been ranked by Bloomberg New Energy Finance 4 years in a row that we have been rated as 100% of module supplier, which is one of the 100% bankables compared to the rest of the other suppliers in the industry. So meaning to say that if you are going to be, we are choosing Trina Solar's PV module in your project, you'll be easily getting your project financing approved by the financing institution or by the banks locally, as well as some of the international banks. And this is one of the key components because, that will speed up the entire process and also the lead time for your project financing. Trina Solar as a company, they're putting a lot of our so-called R&D efforts in terms of defining the products and as well as the improving our product efficiency. So for these efforts, we have been achieving 20 world records in our PV cell efficiency as well as the module outputs. So since in year 2011. So we have been making the records in the industry by higher performing, displaying all the good higher performance of cell as well as product efficiency, and we are productize it and selling to the markets like Pakistan's. And today, all this cell as well as the product that we have developed and which is the output from the R&D efforts that's currently has been put into the market, and we're starting is the make productions right now to the customers. And from Trina Solar standpoint, besides being solar PV module suppliers, we continue going to be providing the system solutions to our customers who are going to be putting a lot more focus into the utility-based projects, as well as the distributed PV systems, be it the commercial and industrial rooftop, either or on the ground mounting. And at the same time, we are also providing Trina Pro solutions, which is going to be a solutions that we are integrating our tracker solutions with Trina's high performance module and delivering the entire end-to-end solution, one-stop shops offerings to our customers. In our areas at 3.0, we are integrating our smart energy solutions with microgrids as well as energy storage, where I think the earlier speakers from Amas was mentioning that storage will become a very, very important in terms of components and solutions for a country like Pakistan. So very soon, this particular solution will be making the available to our customers in Pakistan, in terms of providing the whole end-to-end solution. And at the same time, with all these so-called smart energies integrations, we do need so-called cloud platforms in terms of providing all the information and sharing through this initiative. So this is what Trinas are offering right now, from the end-to-end solution, from solar PV modules to a solution deliveries to a smart energies solution offering. And specifically on, just want to touch base a little bit on the solar modules, where I am showing here some of our latest product that we are available right now to the market. So if you on the left-hand side, we do have the higher efficiency module. We call it DUOMAX and DUOMAX M, and these are the standard 72 cells mono half-cut module with multi-bus bar technologies, and it has a power upwards up per panel up to 415 watts. And we do have a honey black M module, which is a full black module. It's very much for aesthetic purposes, and that's very much addressing for a residential rooftop for a country like, for instance, for Australia and for Japan market and some parts of European markets, where the roof tiles are black, and the customer very much would like to have a black module to have aesthetic purposes. And at the same time, we also has introduced a DUOMAX and a DUOMAX M double glass module, which providing much higher reliabilities as well as the product systems efficiency. So this product double glass module that we have introduced are going to have a wide PV so-called applications, is suitable for ground mounting installations. At the same time, the double glass module will be excellent product for a floating solar system installation. Of course, that will also go very well with fishery and agricultural projects, if that's having some kind of such installations in Pakistan. And at the same time, it is going to be a perfect product for a carport installation as well as some of the rooftop. And at the same time, from a double glass module that we have, we are actually enhancing our product portfolio, that we having a bifacial module, and with we call it product a DUOMAX twin, that a cell having both sides of the cell able to generate a power. So we are also introducing a DUOMAX twin with a bifacial module double glass with a frame. Currently in the mass production, we are selling to the customers for either for the rooftop as well as for the ground mounting installations. Lastly, the DUOMAX Vertex module, 500 watt module. This is Trina's flagship products that we are just introducing to the markets sometimes in March this year, 2020, and we're going to continue enhancing this product. This product will deliver the module power up to 500 watt and above, and it has a higher efficiency that by using a mono cell with much higher technology, where it has the efficiency up to 21% is much higher reliability in terms of much better in terms of first year and yearly power degradations, and with the product power output up to 30 years of warranty, and it has much higher in terms of power's generation because of it has a much better temperature coefficients in comparison to other standard product available in the market, and with that so-called better features, and it provides a much higher in terms of yield generations. So this product, DUOMAX V 500-watt module, it is suitable for a large CNI projects, so-called the commercial and industrial projects, and of course, it is a perfect solutions for utility scale projects on a ground mounting typically. Right, with that, I end my presentations, and what are the solutions and offerings available for the industry. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for your fantastic presentation. And now we would like to move on to our next speaker, and that is...
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. I'm Lim, in handling the product and marketing for Trina Solar Asia Pacific. So thank you once again for Fair Exhibition for organizing this, and also the attendees for your time to come in and listen to the overall Pakistan situation, and also what Trina Solar is going to offer. So let me start off. We'll run through quickly on the solar trend overview, and then what are some of the Trina products that we are offering currently, some of the module parameters that we should look out for, and the technologies that we are using in Trina site, and of course, like what my colleague mentioned earlier, the Trina 500-watt module, the Vertex, and beyond. So if you quickly look at the overall market trend in terms of the silicon wafer for the past 3 to 4 years, you can see that in terms of poly, it was still quite dominant in the 2017. But from over the last 2 to 3 years, you can see mono has been increasing rapidly due to the ability of the supply, and also when we use mono and put it into the solar cell, we are able to achieve much higher power bin compared to the poly. So definitely going forward, we do see that the mono trend will continue to increase, and probably will become much dominant, with a slowly phasing out of poly, which might happen in probably maybe next 2 to 3 years, just on a hypothetical assumption. Another trend you see here is also that the wafer size itself is also getting much bigger. Last time when we started off, it was like 150, 125 mm, and then in 2017 we will be 2018 is about 156, and then every year it has been increasing from 158. Then you see 166 last year, and then now we have the 210 and 180x. So different suppliers are adopting slightly different wafer size. So this is also partly related to the existing production equipment, whether is it compatible with this upsize wafer. Then we look at a very general over the past 10 years of module power trend. So this is based on a 72 cell configuration. So you'll see in 2009, we started off with the technology like high density fingers and selective emitter. We are seeing power bins between the high 290, high 200s to about middle of 300. Then in sometime middle of this decade, then you see that we start to introduce PERC, and also the usage of bigger solar cells. So the power bin has been rapidly increasing. Then if we look even closer in the next, just like the past 1 year, or even from this beginning of this year until now, I'm sure you have seen in the market from many different suppliers that the power bin introduced has been tremendous, from maybe the previous 400 watt, 450 watt, and Trina now we have 500 watt. And I think, in the market, we have others that's shouting out for 535 watts, 550 watts, even up to 600 watts. So all this, is a progressive trend that is going to come because of the continuous, demand for solar and the continuous improvement in the technology and the manufacturing. So what is the key factors that is driving this upgrade in the power bin, and everyone is trying to go for higher and higher power bin? So you look at from the PV system point of view, for all the system, we are always looking how can we achieve lower LCOE, which is the levelized cost of energy. So from this formula itself, you can see it's actually on the total cost divided by the total power generation. So one way that we can bring down the cost, which makes up of the initial investment. So this is using a higher module power. When you use a higher module power, you can reduce the BOS cost and some other system related costs. Then at the same time, when some of these parameters are reduced, it will also help to increase the generation of the system. So what we are trying to achieve here is getting a higher power with a lower cost and a better power generation. So all these factors, when we put into this equation, we will be able to reduce this LCOE, which everyone or every developer or every owner is after. Okay, then next, you can have a quick look at this is the something like our current Trina product portfolio. So if you can see, starting from the left is what we have on the 60 cell, the honey black module, like my colleague introduced just now, mainly for the residential market. And then in the center will be the key products that we are already selling, most of it, as you can see also in terms of the circle represents our current capacity. So in terms of the mono PERC capacity, this year will still be the key. But of course, moving down now, we are already into the second half of 2020. So we'll be starting to see the shift, from the 158 mm wafer size into the 166 mm wafer size. So all these will be offered in both our standard backsheet module and also our double glass module. Okay, then this is a very quick snapshot of what is the current product, their respective product code, and what's the explanation and the power bin range that we are covering. So I think for Pakistan market, I think a lot of maybe some of the participants or attendees here who are current existing customers of Trina Solar, thank you very much for your support. So you can see, I think you are mainly using I think the 158, the highlighted one in yellow, the 166, which is the backsheet module, and also our monofacial double glass module. So this is the power bin and efficiency. Of course, the details you can always get from our data sheet, from our website, or from our sales rep in Pakistan. So just to have a little bit more details, when we look at the solar panel, what are some of the parameters that we look at? So this is a very standard data sheet that from Trina or from any other suppliers. So you can always see at STC condition, what is the power bin, what is the open circuit voltage. Then you can see the nominal module operating temperature, or the NOCT for some. Then you see the temperature coefficient, then of course on the module dimension, and we also look at the warranty. So you can see for the power of the module, this one is directly dependent on the type of wafer that we are using, whether it's poly, mono, the cell size, the small cell, big cell, or the bigger, very, very big cell, and the cell technology. So you have N-type, you have PERC, you have IBC. So for Trina here, our main focus is on the mono PERC technology. Then of course, then you have the VOC, which will be a key parameter to consider during the system design stage, where need to do the planning, how many modules you want to put in the string, then how many string go to the combiner box. So the overall design, a very key factor which we look at is of course the VOC of the module. Then you have the MMOT, which basically is the nominal operating temperature. So for this temperature is lower the better, meaning that the module can operate faster at the temperature. Then the temperature coefficient refers to a loss in energy generation as the ambient temperature increase. So this is of particular importance when you are installing in very high temperature area like the desert or in the Middle East area where there's high temperature fluctuation. Then on the module size and weight, this will be direct related to what kind of structures they're using, the amount of structures, and how much space you need, the land size, the rooftop loading capability. Then last, we look at a warranty. So warranty is the assurance that you get from the manufacturer on how long we have the product warranty. Then also, of course, on the power warranty, which warrants the power derivation of the module. So another point which I also like to take the opportunity to further explain is on the efficiency. So for efficiency wise, what is efficiency? Efficiency is basically the power of the module, which the power output of the module divided by the surface area of the module. So this will determine what is the efficiency of this module. This is different from cell efficiency. Cell efficiency is usually about 1.5 to 2% higher compared to module. So some of the parameters, that will affect this efficiency is of course your power. Then next will be the size of the module, and this size can be impacted by, as you can see from the bottom left two pictures, the distance of the cell from the edges and the distance, or rather the gaps between the cells. So all these will affect the overall length and width of the module. So what we want to bring forward here is that yes, efficiency is an important aspect, but it is not the most important aspect because it's determined by these two factors. So it's also very much dependent on your application and what kind of system that you're installing. Then next, I would like to highlight on this VOC. What is the significant impact it can have to your system? So as you can see, from this very simple comparison, we take an example of a project site where the minimum temperature, let's say, is 18 degrees. Then you can see when you have this particular VOC, these are how many modules you can put in per string. So as you reduce per modules per string, meaning that you have a increase in cost on in terms of cables, combiner box, installation time, and etc. So which is why I think in most of the best practice design, as long if the conditions are favorable, most of the time we try to maximize to try to hit about 30 modules per string. Of course, as now the trend is that the power bin of the module is increasing. So as the power goes up, the VOC of the module also increases. So this will create, in certain design or certain condition, we cannot install 30 strings anymore. We cannot install 30 modules anymore. So we will need to reduce accordingly to maybe 29 and 28. So this will have certain impact onto the overall BOS cost. So just to emphasize again, at Trina site here, what are the technologies that we are putting into our modules? So these are the three key technologies that you will see. First is the multi-bus bar technology, then the half-cut cell technology, and also our dual glass platform, which we are using for both our monofacial and also bifacial module. So each of these technology will contribute to the overall power bin of the module. So as you can see, the big cell, we can get approximately 30% gain. Then multi-bus bar another 3%, and half-cut cell another 3%. So all these will contribute, to how we can achieve higher and higher power bin to supply to the market. So in particular for the double glass or rather dual glass technology, so the key benefits is that because it's a very uniform structure, so it is actually very resistant to micro cracking and very minimum stress that will be exerted on the cell. So as you can see from the picture on the top left, but even as the module bends, the whole structure bends uniformly compared to a backsheet. Then following up, you see, point number 2 will be, for double glass, this is the front glass and back glass. So the glass property itself is a non-permeable material. So elements from the environment, water vapor, all this is very, very difficult, or I rather say not possible to go into the module. So which is why, for our double glass module in the market, you will see that the double glass module always have a longer warranty compared to a backsheet module. And of course, in terms of the power degradation, is also more competitive compared to a backsheet module. Then moving on to the right side, you will see, in terms of fire safety, double glass module for glass itself is a very, very high melting temperature compared to backsheet. So which is why for double glass module, we always get fire class rating A compared to backsheet module of class C. Then point number 4, when we first started having this double glass module in the market, it is still very new. So we are still using the very thick 2.5 mm glass. But over these many years of, I think at least about 3 to 4 years of supply of double glass into the market, we have also understand and get feedback from a lot of our customers and the installation experience. So we are continuing to optimize our double glass platform to use thinner glass, using frame together with the glass, so that we can be compatible with tracker solutions and some of the more standard mounting solutions that is in the market. And from Trina perspective, from Trina here, we have already shipped more than 3 gigawatt of double glass module since about 3 to 4 years ago. So overall, we have a very strong and rich experience in manufacturing dual glass, and we hold about 20 patents and 3 international standards. So this slide is just a bit more detail on what is the comparison between the glass and backsheet. So I think the one or two key points that we like to just focus on is on the reliability. Yeah, like what I mentioned earlier, backsheet, when long term, if you're installing in very harsh condition, that might be a risk of the backsheet yellowing and power downgrade. And that's why you will see backsheet always having a higher power degradation compared to glass. Then in terms of our product warranty, like I mentioned, for our 166 and 210 modules, we are giving first year derogation of 2%, and annual derogation for backsheet is 0.55, and dual glass is 0.45%. So this is our 166 flagship product D17M and DG17M. One is backsheet and one is double glass. So when we compare, the power bin to 440 watt compared to 405 watt, then you can see based on this case study, we will achieve the savings of 0.008 US per watt. Okay, like we mentioned, since Trina has already launched in this year about Q2 period, the 500 watt Vertex module. So I also like to take the chance to quickly run everyone through what is the Vertex module. So it's an incorporation, or integration of a few various technology based on our previous experience. So of course, this time around, we are using the largest wafer size that is currently in the market, the 210 mm wafer size. And last time, because of this increase in wafer size, we also increased the number of bus bar. Previously, we are using 9 bus bar, so for Vertex, or rather, we are using 10 bus bar. Then for this particular model is 1/3 cutting, and basically, we can use both 1/3 cut and half cut cell, and half cut depending on what we are trying to achieve here. So for both the half cut and 1/3 technology, Trina already possess, and we can apply it, across our products depending on what is the key parameter that we are considering. Then here we are also using a high density encapsulation technology. Basically, this is to minimize the space between the cell. So this will improve the module efficiency by 0.2 to 0.3%. So you can see overall, on a trend, for the past maybe 5 years, you see the module, or rather the wafer size have been increasing, for 156 all the way to 210 now. So this is something which we will definitely be seeing more and more in the next, I would say, 6 months to 12 months that will be coming into the market. And this is the multi-bus bar technology. So this is basically we are using the round wire ribbon to improve the light capturing and reflection on the cell surface, so that we can increase the power bin of the module. And this is the high encapsulation technology. So as you can see, from the left is the traditional module, is about 2 mm, and then on the right is the shingling, where it's an overlap. Then for high density, we try to reduce to 0.5 mm to achieve the balance between efficiency of module and also production yield of the module. So if you compare between the different power bin for 480 watt versus 440 watt to 405 watt, then you will see the savings that comes out because of the usage of less number of modules, less amount of structures, cables, and etc. So the value to the PV system will be simply demonstrated by, as the power bin increase, how we can reduce the cost, and when cost goes down, then of course your levelized cost of energy will also goes down. So for our Vertex module, we have most of our materials ready. We are our PAN files, our data sheet, our certification. So we have already completed all the basic IEC certification and all the special certification like PID, ammonia, and salt mist. So these are all available. If you need, you can please contact our sales rep. And finally, I'd like to end off. Yes, we do have a 550 watt that is coming. So do watch out for it. We will announce it very soon. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Lim, for your technical presentation and providing us with an overview of your product portfolio and the advantages of larger size modules to bring down the lowest cost of electricity. Finally, I would like to call upon our last speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Zegam Rizvi, who is associated with the PM Housing Task Force, Government of Pakistan. Over to you, sir.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me, and I have been exposed to Trina Solar. There's a company called Z Solar, which I am the honorary chairperson, and they primarily rely on Trina, and they speak very, very high of you. But now today, while I was listening to your presentation, both of these, I called them and said, please don't miss this webinar, but I learned that they are already hooked on this. Very, very impressive the way you are already going to 500 and then 550. And another thing I like to say, which probably you missed, is that in Pakistan we have been advocating the quality importance. You know that the PVs were being imported, and all good and bad quality PVs were being imported. So what we had really seen is that we are, with Alternate Energy Development Board, I have been convincing them to have some quality parameters. So they have defined the quality parameters for standard for PVs as well as for the inverters, and now they are also gone for the structures and for the cables. So what was happening is that, you see, they have required two main requirements. One, the vendor, meaning the Trina or Jinko, whatever, should say that our PVs meet these quality standards. But then over and above, they got to be a third-party inspection like SGS and all that. So this Z-Solar, they are saying that they are using both. And the first company which immediately complied to the quality standards in Pakistan, both by the Alternate Energy Development Board, is Trina Solar. So through this webinar, I would like to say that Trina, as per the Alternate Energy Development Board, is also a very good quality standard company. Congratulations to you. Now coming to my main subject. You see that in Pakistan, we are really working on the Prime Minister's affordable housing program. He's got a very ambitious target of about 1 million per year. apparently you see this ambitious target, but Pakistan's population growth per year is about 4.2 million, which means Pakistan anyway, for the increase in population, we need about 0.7 million new housing units. So from that angle, the target of 1 million is just essential, because 0.7 to meet the incremental demand, and then the rest 0.3 will be to partly cover up the backlog. So energy, as we all know, was one of the main key factors. So what we are trying to do is that we will have two concepts. One, we are trying to promote rooftop solar in all these new habitats and projects. And secondly, somewhere where possible, sort of mini grids. Because as I'll proceed in presentation, this will be another very important factor, is that our transmission system is already overloaded and quite inefficient. There are 25 to 30% transmission losses. So if we'll have mini grids, at least for the daytime, we can save a lot of load on the transmission system, apart from the other benefits which I'm going to discuss in my presentation. You see, there are three basic benefits which come to the economy, overall country, of moving from non-renewable to renewable, primarily solar. One is the environmental consideration. You know, all we know that carbon footprint, carbon credit, and all this is very, very important, and we are facing the environmental pollution. For example, people who are living in Lahore, they know every year, 2 to 3 months, they have something called smog. Smog is basically the carbon within the environment where the water gets on and also totally block the visibility. So practically we at times lose 2 months of economic activity in Lahore. So there's when moving from the normal fossil fuels to the renewables, primarily the solar will be really serving the first purpose of the environment. Second is, you see, the national cause. National cause is that, you see, at the moment, about 2/3 of the energy is being produced by the fossil fuel, mostly imported by oil. So number one, while they have impact on the carbon in producing environment, second negative impact this fossil fuel has is that we are importing oil, so it's impacting our economy, balance of payments. So if every time we move from the fossil fuel, petrol-based energy source to the solar-based energy source, we are also saving our foreign exchange. You see, for example, when we have 1 kilowatt, I'll show you later the figures that we'll be saving how many miles of a car driven on the road or whatever. This is the second benefit, is the national economy, apart from the environment. And environment is also going to be very, very important, because every exporting country, export industries has to prove to the world that they are on carbon credit positive, meaning they are net saver of the carbon footprints. So that means every time we have solar, we are creating carbon saving, and that we can be sold what we call the carbon credit market. For example, in my house, I have a small system of 5 kilowatt, and last year I saved about 6 tons of carbon. So this is just a small contribution, but we have not really active. Alternate Energy Development Board is responsible for carbon credit monitoring and sale, but I'm trying and pushing them hard to really go ahead and do it. So once we really have this, our new habitat under the Prime Minister Housing Program, we will also be saving a lot of money by saving the carbon and selling those carbon credits in the environment, and getting some benefit which can be again passed on to the same community by lowering the cost of electricity. Second thing I feel in Pakistan is, that's why I was appreciating Trina, that in the quality standards Pakistan, we have not been able to really strictly ensure that good quality system is installed. And sorry to say, but many international vendors, sometimes they, of course, the importer in Pakistan is asking them, forget about quality, give me the lower price. So their quality is compromised. What we keep on promoting here in Pakistan is that, you see, solar system is 25, 30, 40 years and beyond. Its life is long term. what can assure the life is good quality PVs and good quality inverters. And as I said earlier, that Trina has been fully certified as per the Alternate Energy Development Board quality standards. So this is the second important thing, is that we are really going to improve this from the environmental angle. Then, you know, when we compare this, the alternate energy solar, because it's right on our rooftop or factory premises, so it is saving the transmission system. It is saving many other things, because all other major sources of energy still have a load. For example, if you have a big wind power plant or big thermal plant or whatever it is, or biogas operation, you will have to still rely on the transmission system. So this is another major benefit of going to the solar. This is, I have already discussed, in Pakistan government is promoting, but it should be doing more in promotion of the, you see, what we have observed is that when I was talking the good quality, that a good quality and bad quality system in Pakistan, we have carried out some analysis. At a very good quality like Trina or Hyundai's solar panels, or Japanese panels or Germans, they're good quality. The payback period moves from maybe, let's say, 4 years to 5 years. Hardly 1 year more. If you really buy a good quality solar system, your difference in the payback period is between 6 months to 1 year. But important is that after those 5 years of payback period, the system serves you 25, 30, 40 years, which only can be assured by the good quality system, which of course is the system which is having a good compliance of the Alternate Energy Development Board quality standards. So this is another thing, is we have seen in Pakistan that per unit production cost from a good quality system and a cheaper low quality system is hardly, let's say, 1 rupee, even less than rupee, about 50 paisas, like 3.5 rupees to maybe it might go to good quality might be 4 rupees per unit. Vis-a-vis the government tariffs are 14, 16 and 18. So this half a rupee or 50 paisas means practically nothing by moving from a bad quality to a really good quality, when shows you efficiencies, as has been discussed in the two good presentations. For example, now the Trina is moving to 450 and then to 500. The same place will be having good quality and much more production as well, and much longer life. This is what we are promoting even in the industries like Sundar Industrial Estate, Lahore. The factories are now being pushed to move for solar productions, as well as also rainwater harvesting, because the solar production, rain is there, the water gets collected and then recycled for reuse through a little bit of filtration. These are the just 1 kilowatt of electricity, you know, it saves on the transmission system, the main transmission and the distribution network. So by moving solar, you give more space to your transmission system for better and more efficient transmission of electricity. These are the, you see, the global view, as we all say that for example, the production of solar is going way above. Renewals are going to be 74 gigawatt in the next near future. For example, China is one of the major producers of the solar power, and of course they are 60-65% carbon, so they are also trying to replace the carbon footprint by the solar industry. Now these are the 2-3 examples I will give you, is what is the residential rooftop we are trying to promote. Apart from this electricity benefit, you see that the benefit of in 2 cases, that after installing solar, the person is not only saving his total electricity bill, but he is getting, due to net metering, the substantial amount. Like in March 20, he got in Karachi about 17,000 rupees back from the K Electric. Similar as in Lahore, he is getting the units back. So moving to rooftop solar, and when I see in Karachi, hardly even 1 or 2% of the roofs have solar systems, while we should be having, maybe Karachi has 320 days of solar lights, sunny days. So that's have a much bigger potential. This is again another case of a 10 kilowatt, which how much it saves on the environment, carbon footprint about 1 ton per month. It saves your foreign exchange about $80 a month because of saving from your fossil fuel to moving to the solar system. And then, of course, the financial saving it is giving you. In February, it gave you 6,000 net saving due to the net metering. These are again the same three cases represented from the carbon point of view. So what I really feel is that you see what important it is, and that's where we feel that the Chinese government should also ensure that the good quality solar companies who are really giving the quality standards which are conforming to the Alternative Energy Development Board will create more trust on the solar system, because I have seen some solar consumers who after 5 or 6 years, because the solar efficiency substantially go down because of the poor quality, is damaging the faith of the people. I think with this, I would like to close, and then we'll open to question answer.
The question is been sent in writing. The gentleman is asking about the failure of batteries and the quality of panels and their maintenance and space required for installations.
I think this is a very important question. I will first go for, because on the PVs and inverters, I have already said that you see, as our Mr. Mas was previously saying, that people imported panels close to 1 megawatt, 100 megawatt, I don't know how much he was saying, close to $1 billion imports, which are very poor quality panels. So because not really confirming, so first the buyer and the user should ensure that the PVs and panel and inverters are being installed conform to the quality standard as specified by the Alternative Energy Development Board. And there are two issues. One, certification on quality conformity should come from the vendor like Trina or Jinko, whatever. And second should be third-party inspection, like this company I was talking about, which I installed at my place, they use also SGS. Because the third-party inspection, so the vendor may say anything, but there should be a third party who should say that yes, the vendor is saying right. This is for the quality. Second is the batteries. At the moment, this is major issue in Pakistan, you know, for two reasons. I am not really that technical, but that's what I heard. One is that the battery life depends upon how much it has been in the shelf space in China. And then if somebody imported cheap batteries from China here in Pakistan, they have been in the shelf for 6 months. And so, you know, battery, if it's not properly recharged or renewed, my friends from Trina could really educate us more, then the battery life goes off. Like in my house, I have to change the batteries after every 1.5 to 2 years, which is making the battery backup system very expensive. Like in US and all that, the good quality batteries, which are even the lead acid batteries, are 9 to 10 years. But now the lithium ion batteries, which are very good quality and much longer, more reliable. So I personally feel that maybe Trina could also associate itself or maybe guide its users on which good quality vendors are there in China for the batteries, maybe for the lithium ion or for the lead acid, because normally people even feel that lithium ion is more expensive, let's say 3 times. But if the life is 5 times, 8 times, then lithium ion is more cheaper and then it occupies less space. So maybe my friend from Trina could add to this question.
Thank you very much for your replies, Zegam Sahab. I will now request Mr. Koo Jun to answer the next question, which is on the 3.0 era energy storage system. Somebody has asked when it will be available commercially. So if Mr. Koo, you could answer that. And of course, I think answering this question, you could also tell us a little bit about the evolution of lithium-ion batteries in line with what Mr. Zegam had ended his answer with. Over to you, sir.
Sure, thank you. So yes, the era 3.0 that Trina is embarking on. So we are actually already driving it right now. So what does it mean is that that will be a smart energy solutions. Trina is working with some of the we'll call it trial projects in China at this time for a total size of about close about 100 megawatts in total size in terms of the trial projects in one of the city in China for the time being. And how it encompasses that, for the particular trial project that Trina is working on right now. So we have to work with the authorities of the utility grid companies. Typically, most of the grid companies in any part of the world, because these are the infrastructures and power supplies, utility to the community, to the to industries, it's become infrastructures for a country. So most of the time, these are going to be controlled by any of the governments locally or the locals, mayors, and whomever, right? So for that particular project that we had done in China, what we had a local government supports to give us the so-called a permissions for us to take certain sort of authority and control of the grid. So what we are doing is that with the current existing power supplies from the existing power supply, say from a gas turbine or even from the coal-fired power plants nearby the cities. So we are taking a look at the existing power supplies that are available right now for the particular trial project in the cities. So looking at the current load consumption patterns from the residential as well as from the industrial park itself, we were integrating that loading requirements of the power requirements gap by installing of additional solar PV systems with integrations of storage into it. There has to be the right sizings of when the loading, the so-called the peak load is going to be required. Typically, for instance, right, if you look at the loading patterns typically for industrial park, the factory, the machineries, and the operations of the productions are typically assuming they'll be starting the jobs from say 8 a.m. in the morning until like say 6 p.m. In the evening. So this could be the peak loads of requirement of the power consumption will require say in the peak hours from 8 a.m. to like say 11 a.m. In the morning, and probably from 2 p.m. To say about 5 p.m. In the afternoon. So when we study the entire loading patterns, we will study because typically in the peak season, the power utility bill, the charges for the power utility bill will be much more expensive compared to the non-peak. So I myself do not know about Pakistan's cases, but in most of the times in the industrial areas, for instance, for commercial usage, the peak load tariff is going to be a lot more expensive during the peak hour compared to the non-peak hour. So what we did is that when we started the holistic of the power requirements for that particular trial project that we had in the cities, we look at the loading patterns. We we designed the additional power consumption requirements by installing of additional solar PV system on the factory rooftop, and at the same time we also do the right sizing of energy storage for those factory locations, so that any of the excess solar PV system which are not consumed right away at the that moment in time, that will be stored through the battery. So what we have done is that the additional storage power that to the battery, as well as from a solar PV systems, because solar PV systems so the cost of generations from a solar PV system will be a lot more cheaper during the peak hour in comparison to the tariff that's applying from the existing power utility. So we have built so-called artificial intelligence billing systems into this platform. So say in the morning from 8 a.m. to the 10 p.m., where the tariff from the power utility supply is going to be the most expensive. So we have worked out a artificial intelligence billing system that during this period of time, most of the power, maybe 80% of the power, we were taking the power supply from the solar PV system generation during the morning, so that the much lower cost of billing able to be provided to the consumers that in that particular trial project. And in the afternoon, with the similar so-called fashion, so-called the billing system will be built with the artificial intelligence that the solar PV system will be supplying the power to most of the industrial parks system. So this is how we have conceptualized it and become a smart energy system that with integrations of solar PV system with the assistance of say power utility bill from either from gas turbines or coal fire, with integration of storage solution to provide a much cheaper of electricity bills to the consumers. And to answer the first part of the question in terms of the storage today, right? So I believe that there are two different types of energy storage technologies are available right now, and the most common one is the one lead acid storage, which is the one that's been widely used for many years and century. Those are in the typical in the vehicles, in the motorcycles and things like that. Those are probably one of the cheapest in terms of economical right now and widely available right now in the industry, right? However, the challenge for the lead acid battery is that the lifespans of the lead acid will be much shorter compared to the newer technology, which is using the lithium ion, right? If you do the comparison, probably lithium ion battery, based on the so-called this charge and discharge cycles, in a typical lifespan, typically the lithium ion will have 2 times more longer lifespan compared to lead acids. So if your lead acid battery, say, going to last you, say, 2.5 to 3 years, typically for lithium ion will give you a lifespan of at least about 5 years period of time. Of course, I know that will depending on assuming that all the charge and recharge cycle will be having the same. And of course, the loading, the pattern will be, based on the specifications. Hopefully I'd answered the questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Koo Jun. So we'll now move on to the next question, which is actually to talk about the specific examples of energy storage and their prices, which I think you've actually already covered.
I would like to add one quick comment on the storage.
Sure, please, sir.
Australia is one country which can produce energy from all 3 sources. Wind, a lot of wind is there, and then hydel, because of lots of hydel sources are there, and the solar. So Australia is producing massive amounts of renewable energy, which is beyond their consumption. So while they are practically giving in some places this electricity at 0 cost, but they are not stopping production because they are working on storage and possible export of electricity. So that one of the countries which is really immensely working on energy storage is Australia as well. I'm sure they must be working in technical collaboration with China, because China is a big source of such thing. But they are working on this because they feel that there will be a time when the electricity could be exported as well. And then the only mode will be a very economical storage space. That's what my quick comment.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would now like to move on to the next question. Somebody has asked what the minimum quantity for importing solar panels is. So if one of the gentlemen from Trina Solar can please answer that question.
This is cool. Let me try that. Typically for, we do have a local distributors in locally in Karachi as well in Lahore. So we do have local distributors. So depending on the quantity that you want, one option is that you can buy it directly from a local distributor where they have existing so-called storage. I mean the module available up from the warehouse right now. This is one option. And if you are really keen to have so-called importing the module directly from Trina, typical minimum order quantity will be by the 40-foot containers size.
maybe you can leave an email address so that anyone wants to contact you, they can contact you with their inquiry directly.
Sure, I can definitely share my email ID, or even my we do have a local salespersons out from Lahore, then we can get in touch with him. So I can share that email
If you
ID
could
to you
leave,
back to you.
Yeah, I would like to add something, if you'll so permit.
yes, sir.
You see, what my Trina Solar people will be really aware of, that some of the people here in local market, they import, let's say, X quantity. And these are the cases which have been caught. And then they copy the barcode and brand, and then they get the third quality reject lots from somewhere and put those barcodes of, say, X company or Y company and the same barcodes. So there have been cases where the barcodes have been caught as the same barcode repeated on 10 panels. So what now that we are trying to do is, you see that and I think Trina should also ensure that some of the companies are doing it, like the company I'm associated with, they are doing that all the panels you supply, you have a reference of the barcodes. And when those panels are installed at place, the Trina or whosoever is the vendor knows that these barcodes are installed at that place. So that's a much easier control to really check these fake markets as well. Because tomorrow, supposing a company is not there, and you know that my production line of that barcode is installed at Mr. Radamar's house or maybe factory. So if there is anything, 25 years performance is a long period. So you will know for the next 25, 30 years that this barcode panel, which was manufactured in such time in my factory, because barcode tells everything, was installed. So what these companies are now trying to do is to link the barcode with the supplier like Trina and informing Trina that this barcode panels have been installed at such and such place. But that will also give you a good control or ensuring that somebody has 10 Trina panels. This has happened with SMA inverters as well, and some other that imported few, and then multiplied by 10, they had those barcode replications. So I think you should also ensure that the bad name by this kind of activity is not really coming to Trina.
Thank you very much for a very pertinent observation, Zegam Saab. I think, yes, Mr. Kujun, this is a problem in Pakistan, that we are being victimized by people or tradesmen who are manipulating panels by putting on fake stickers and fake data labels on the back sheets of panels and misleading the end user. So I think as a company, perhaps you need to see how you can address that in a market like Pakistan. The next question that I have is somebody asking for the benefits of double glass solar panels. I'd like Mr. Lim to answer this question, please. I know that, Mr. Lim, you spoke a little bit about this in your presentation, but if you could maybe just take a couple of minutes to explain whether double glass panels are better or not, because one of my observations also is that when you input the data in a software, a third-party software, then many times the bifacial panel doesn't give a better performance ratio than, let's say, a mono-faced panel. And in other cases it does. So if you could just explain a little bit more about typically the best application and typically where one could see an improvement in the performance ratio of a double glass panel, I think it'll help the audience.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the question. So I think for double glass, or rather if for Trina double glass, we offer in both the monofacial and the bifacial. So if you are talking about the bifacial double glass, then yes, for the bifacial, our recommendation is, the best combination will be bifacial plus tracker system. So this will be able to maximize the front side and the back side generation for the overall PV system. So I think, like just now you mentioned on the software topic. So this one, because I think PVC is also updating their software to see how they can factor in all these different considerations, because bifacial simulation itself is still a very complicated process, because there's to calculate the amount of light that will hit the backside of the module, scattered light, shading losses and all this. So it's a much more complex model compared to a very straightforward monofacial module. Then if you are comparing between a backsheet and a double glass module for both monofacial, then as my PPT highlighted that the key difference here will be because of the better reliability, the better protection that is offered by the back glass compared to a backsheet. So which is why you can see across the industry, all the manufacturers offers better warranty and lower power degradation for the double glass module compared to backsheet. So I think in terms of actual site performance, what we have mentioned before is that the double glass module do perform slightly better compared to the backsheet module. So this can be attributed to a few possibilities, like the lower power degradation that we can see because of the better protection for the module, and also in terms of the surface temperature, the double glass module have a lower operating temperature, tends to have a lower temperature compared to the backsheet. And we all know that the temperature will have an effect on the power generation. Yeah, thank you.
I have a question for Mr. Koo or Mr. Lim, if you so permit.
Sure, please.
Yeah, I have heard, I'm not sure, that in China, you are not permitted to export the reject lots, but you are permitted to sell the reject lots to some local users. But in Pakistan, some people claim that those reject lots which are sold to the local market are being imported in China, in Pakistan, and maybe some other countries, and then again giving a bad name to such reputed companies like Trina, who has very strict quality control, and rejects are not exported. That's what I heard, but can you really, and if it is true, then I'm sure you should be really asking your government to take strict action on that.
Yeah, so as far as Trina's company as a company policy, so we are strictly do not allow to sell those we call it quality inferior quality products outside China. So for any of exports module, that will be the we call it the A grade module, and those are going to be meeting all the international standards. For all the customers, regardless, going to be either going to US, going to Pakistan, or going to Australia, there will be Trina will only have one standard A grade module that for international markets.
But are you permitted to sell those low quality or reject lots to the local market?
So for
like in the United States, you cannot sell anywhere. Reject lots are gone.
Right. So for Trina, right, particularly for China, because China's projects are going to be very large, typically in size. Due to some of the projects that could be located in different part of country, because they are very large country geographically. So in some of the projects where the for those developer that who has their own so-called their powers purchase agreements, they're selling the integrated grid by themselves. So in so-called what we did is that for those so-called grade B, we call it grade B's module that Trina has, we were only selling to those dedicated developers in China for a specific project location that we are aware, and they will be only meant for their own project consumptions only. It is not absolutely not allowed to do anything export, even within selling to Trina in China. This is not absolutely not allowed. This is only dedicated, for their own projects for a specific location in China. This is how we manage it right now in China for those we call it a grade B module.
Thank you, Mr. Koo Jun, for your reply to that. I'd like to take it to the next question where I'm actually merging two questions. And the question is diverted towards Mr. Lim, in which somebody is asked, what is the difference between mono, poly, and thin film PV? And what are the benefits of monocrystalline over others? Finally, what is the best solution recommended for Pakistan climate? And also, competitors are giving a 25-year warranty of the solar panel for the product, whereas Trina is giving 12 years. So is Trina planning to increase that? And if so, when? If not, why? If you could please answer these questions, Mr. Lim.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, thank
I
you
would
for the
like to
question.
add something. You see, I think we got to differentiate, Mr. Kuwait, the performance warranty and the product warranty are two different things. Performance goes 25 or 30 years, but product warranties, to my knowledge, are at max 10 years or something like this. Please correct.
Mr. Lim, if you could kindly answer the question.
Yeah, correct. So I think in the industry practice, so product warranty itself is always between 10 to 12 years, or sometimes in special situation there can be up to 15 years. Then for the power warranty, this one is usually 25 years for the standard backsheet module, and then for double glass will be 30 years. Okay. Then I go back to the previous question on the difference between mono, poly, thin film. So this will be
and also, what is the best recommended for Pakistan?
The best solution. So I think for our current Trina range of products, it can be used in almost anywhere in the on a global basis. So the key point here is they need to find out what is the application that you are using on. Is it on a residential? Is it on a commercial? Is it on a utility? And then what are the available parameters that we are working with? Then we can find the best, most suitable solution to cater to this particular application.
Could you just give us an idea based on your knowledge?
So
let's say for rooftop, what would you recommend?
Yeah, so for rooftop, I think if you are talking about example large size factory rooftop, then yes, I think you should consider something like our 166 series module that is giving a power bin of about 440 to 450 watt. That would be a good size or fit to use for this large scale industrial rooftop, because it's not as heavy as the Vertex now, and then it still give more power compared to the 158 series. So this one, so all this will be very dependent on the type of application that you are using on. So there's no one size that can fit all kind of approach. So based on your site condition, what you are looking out for, and the constraint that you have, then we can look for the most suitable solution for that particular application.
Mr. Chef, I would like to make one comment, if you so permit. Mr. Chef, can I go ahead?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. One thing is normally in our Pakistan, very few companies, solar companies, have staff which is qualified in solar certification. Australia, China, United States, NAPSAC, they have proper quality certifications. So then they have three standards. One is the design. The qualified people do the design. Second is the installation audit, whether the system has been installed on the right manner. And third is the performance audit. All these are to be done by the professionals. Very few companies have engineers and then who are further certified on solar certifications. So it's a much different science. For example, a very small thing. You can install the best Trina panels, but if you don't teach the people how to really do the cleaning, and if they are only cleaning with the cloth, dry cloth, and dusting the dust over the panels, you will be killing the PV's performance. So you would, maybe then tomorrow you will blame the Trina or the supplier. But it's like you clean your car windshield. It's a technology to clean the car windshield. So I think even the good companies only tell their people, their customers like rooftop and all that, how to do the proper cleaning of the panels. Second thing is, even you see, we have seen the storms, the design should be confirming certain wind velocity, which in Pakistan, since most of the solar installations are not being done by the qualified people, the solar installation design are not conforming to those quality standards. So I think at the same time, when we are focusing on the quality of the PVs and ensuring that these quality standards are being maintained, that deserve, or maybe some other companies, but we also really ensure that the design is there in the proper manner, like cables. They have to be special cables, like batteries we just now discussed. People even don't tell people that not every battery will be used as a solar battery. Yes, it might do a little bit of service, but solar batteries are solar batteries. And then again, the lead acid, lithium and all that. So structures in Punjab, we don't have that kind of corrosion. But in Karachi, because of the environment, we need to ensure either aluminium structures or we need to ensure the hot dip galvanized structures. So I think totality also counts in design of a system, which where we have, number one, we need to ensure, most important thing is, if I'm not wrong, 70 to 80% of the cost of solar system in Pakistan is the PVs and the inverters. So this is where the good quality companies like Hyundai, like Trina and all those companies. Today I'm saying more of Trina because the PowerPoint presentation is shown. Trina is on the top, 100%. So one can comfortably say that they are really meeting all those quality standards, and compliments to you. So I think this is also to be, I would suggest even Trina, when they sell their PVs, to number one, to be very particular about the barcodes, where they are being installed, and and secondly, to advise the clients how to do the cleaning, maybe have some videos or something, so that those videos are passed on to the end clients. How do we really do the cleaning to ensure the performance of 25, 30 years? Otherwise, even if you have a performance warranty of 30 years, which if I don't clean it properly, you cannot warranty that 25, 30 years, because how do I clean it? How I'm damaging the cells by improper cleaning? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Mr. Ku or Lim.
Sir, we actually have run out of time, so we have to bring an end to this session. What I would like to say is that there is a email address, and anybody who has any questions can put up their questions on webinar. That's WEBINAR at solarfairpakistan.com. That's SOLARFAIR Pakistan.com. I repeat, webinar at solarfairpakistan.com. Having said that, I would like to bring an end to the session. I would like to thank all the speakers and attendees for sparing their precious time to view Solar Pakistan webinar number 3. I'd also like to request everyone to subscribe to Fact Exhibition's new YouTube channel to view this recorded webinar for more videos and information. And once you view it again, then you might find that you have more questions, which you can then obviously solicit answers for. So once again, I'd like to thank everybody for their time and for a very fruitful afternoon, which was extremely insightful. Thank you very much and have a very good afternoon and evening.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so much.
Pu and Mr.
Thank you.
Dev. Very kind of you.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.